Today, Junior?
Did I stutter?
Poker face, poker.
Ladies and gentlemen of the
Jury.
Aren't you glad I didn't say
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Did I Stutter with comedian Drew Lynch. Here I am. Hello. Sorry about the shirt. You know, I'm not a fan, but it's comfy, and so that's what we're just gonna have to deal with. If you are watching on our YouTube channel, why don't we start right away with tour dates, because I have a lot of points from Southwest, and I need to tell somebody about them, because that's the next step towards me being a dad. Oh yeah, what? What's that? Yeah, no, I travel quite around. Well, you're with one airline? Me too. Yeah, I've got Hilton Honors. That's what kind of has to happen in order for you to conceive a child. You start to have to, have conversations like that. But I think you should know that I am traveling to places where I'm performing live comedy that I feel like you should come to see and go and laugh and enjoy them. Okay? Right away, I am performing in Tucson, Arizona, La Jolla, California, Enumclaw, Washington, which is a place that is real. Enumclaw, Washington, and then I will be in Everett, Washington, and then I will be in Olympia, Washington. I'm moving to Washington. Boston, Massachusetts. Ever heard of it? You schmuck. There we go. I kept it real clean for the beginning. Mashantucket, Connecticut. I feel like my agent just put that on my website to mess with me. So, okay, that's a real place too, I guess. And then in May, I will be in Los Angeles, California, for the Netflix is the Joke Festival. And also, guys, I'm going to Europe this summer, and not just to drink and do bread. I'm going also for comedy. So come see me. Tickets at drewlynch.com. You can also get merchandise. Sorry so much. If you're watching on our YouTube channel, you can see my hat is aggressive. And if you're just listening to it on the podcast, why don't you pop over to the YouTube channel and hit subscribe and be like, damn, that's an aggressive hat, and then unsubscribe. Okay? I'd be fine with that, to be honest with you. I guess we can get right into this right away. Please, right off top, okay? I want to start with something positive, okay? HIV is an insane thing. Okay, quit. Don't be stupid, guys. Let's start off with something positive. This is what I noticed just about my day, where I walk around and I'm talking to myself out loud. This is the things that I have come to realize, okay? Every person is a genius. And that's our podcast, guys. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you next week. Okay, all right. I'll elaborate. Fine. I think everybody is absolutely singular at least one thing. Okay? And I know you might sit there and be thinking to yourself, you're like, Drew, you can't possibly mean me. And yeah, I do. I think you're a genius at not having self-confidence. Look at that. That's your genius. You can completely turn a compliment around and use it to obliterate yourself. It's like when you go to stab, like with a javelin spear, and then it ends up hitting a dimension that it breaks through the plane and comes to stab you right in the back from a different plane. It's not exactly a fleshed out metaphor. It's like when you, it's like when you stab, it's just like when you stab somebody. There we go. No, my point is everybody is a genius in some way, all right? And I hope you realize it by the end of your life. That's important because that's your life's purpose, all right? And I know I sound like I just came back from a mission retreat, but I'm trying to be sincere with you. Like if you're like I don't do anything with my day. I don't contribute to society. And I just am doom scrolling on TikTok. Well, then you're a genius at that. I couldn't do that. I couldn't get through my entire day just being a lazy POS like you? I mean, okay. I couldn't blow off my friends and appointments all the time. Like you're look at that. You're a genius. You have your boundaries, and they are within the confines of your square box that you hold up to your face. That's good for you. Look how small your comfort zone is. You're a genius at that. You're a reductionist. You're a minimalist. I freaking love that for you. And if you're like, Drew, I don't know. I don't have very many physical attributes, and I don't have a personality. Okay, then that's amazing. You're a genius at how extraordinary you are. Do you understand how special that is? You are the sheepest of sheep. You don't even, you follow you're so boring, dude, that people are just like, oh yeah, no, Frank will go to that. Just invite him, whatever. He's a body. You know what I mean? Like, you're the person who could show up to a Super Bowl event, at like a Super Bowl watch party, and no one would even know you're there. That's how blatantly plain you are. You're a plain blatant. Okay? And that's good. That's a good thing. You know? Because if you just do missionary sexually, then how's another person going to try out their extraordinary moves? You know, you need a constant. Not everybody can just be a variable. You know what I'm saying? So you're a genius at just laying there. And my genius is blindly motivating people under a futile pretense. Yeah, it is completely useless to say any of this. I mean, some of your genius could be that you can't even pay attention to people. You're so in your own world. You don't need the confines of an establishment or a conversation to exist. Anyway, I would like to get right away into one of my favorite frickin' segments. Here it is. Who would win in a fight? Who would win in a fight? Guys, this is where we blindly put two names together and just see who would win in a fight. It's really important. It's kind of it's the only thing that gets me through the week. Today's is just a blind guess. If you don't get to look at these people, it's just based on names alone that you have to pick a fighter who would win in a cage match style fight to the death, just based on name alone. Today's candidates are Diana and Deirdre. Okay, so just first impressions, Diana seems a little nice. She seems a little cookie cutter. And I literally mean cookie cutter. Like, she's bringing in cookies for people for, like, off holidays. You know, where it's like, Happy Columbus Day. And you're like, okay, I don't think you know what he did. But I appreciate the sugar boats. You know, that's who Diana feels like to me. She feels like someone who she gets her teeth done real nice because her dad is, in medicine or something, and he's got a buddy who can do it. You know what I mean? Diana is not somebody who I think goes for it, And Deirdre feels stout to me. Deirdre, that almost sounds like a Pokemon. Do you not hear that? Deirdre, I choose you. Right? You're not saying Diana. You're not Diana. She's like one of the nurses that you bring your Deirdre Pokemon into to be like, Nurse Diana, please, can you do something? We won the fight, but Deirdre's on her last legs. Because she gave it her all. Deirdre, Deirdre, she does one of those like half les haircuts where she goes on the side, and she's just kind of exploring her sexuality. That you don't mess with that level of primal and hormonal rage. Okay? Someone's sexuality is that's a fragile and angry time. Okay? So Deirdre, you just know she drives like a Pontiac. right? Like a Pontiac vibe, you know? She's comfortable rolling her car down a hill with a body in it. Diana, you're so unmatched here. And I can't, I don't know how to, tell you that it's just, you're studious. You're studious, Diana. That's a huge deal. Okay, you can read, but will any of those book smarts help you in the ring? And I don't think so. I think Deirdre's got you beat. I mean, I think Deirdre's got one of those Jazzercise things that she just chews on and to like strengthen your jaw muscles. And you're like, why? And she's like, well, the masseter, it's the strongest muscle in the body. And you're like, okay, Deirdre, what's a weird fact that you know? You know, and then when you pull it out and look at it, it's her frickin' Adam's apple. Yeah, her own Adam's apple. So I think I'm taking Deirdre on this, and it's not really open for debate, guys. Okay, I mean, you can toss it in your comments, and I feel like you should, or shoot me a message if you'd like. But I'm taking Deirdre's. I'm taking that sweet, sweet dear baby Deirdre. That dear baby Dra. Okay? Sorry, Diana, not this time. Here's a silly thought just to break up the monotony of all the seriousness of this podcast. Gosh, because I know it's just so intense. And I'm a thinker. I'm a prophet, really. You know, I'm a prophet. It's like, like the Old Testament would say things about me and my farm. That's pretty much what this podcast is. I know you're just, it's life lessons, man. You can't, I mean, things that you can't go back. You're just like, man, every time I listen to Drew's pod, it's just, it's like land, it's like paperwork. They're like on littering my desk. That's what it feels like every time I listen to it. So here's my thought that I'm going to try to break up with just a little piece of levity, okay? I thought about wearing a jacket just out. And I'm not the type of person that can pull off a jacket, you know? I mean, I can jacket, but I can't pull it off the jacket. I can jacket, but I can't pull the. All right, so you understand what I'm saying? What visual I'm trying to kind of paint here, unless someone's a jacket wearer, like if they can wear a jacket. I mean, good for you. You've got money. You don't care what happens to your sleeves. But I'm not about that life, really. Every time I wear a jacket, I get insecure over the fact that, like, I get insecure about people thinking that people think that I'm better than them, and then I get insecure about the fact that my arms are exposed, and I'm like, well, what is he trying to show, his arms? And it's like, I'm not trying to show my arms. It's just, I'm an American, all right? And I have the right to bear them. But I did think this was kind of silly, is that I wear the jacket the other way when I'm on planes. That way, I'm making fun of myself a little bit. I'm not taking myself too seriously. And there's something about it that just feels like a sleepover on a flight, right? Where you're just kind of like, oh, I'm getting a hug from someone that's not there, right? Is that not what that feels like? Where you're in an embrace of polyester. Sorry, I was going to say a different word, but I apparently stuttered, and so I had to go with a different one. So polyester is what you get there. You know when you hug your clothes and they hug you back? Oh my God. Well, not literally. If you had a jacket on that hugs your back, it would actually be worn appropriately. But when you have a jacket that hugs you back from the front, that's all the companionship I really need. And I've been trying to tell my wife this for just years, and she just kind of stays around. But wasn't this so silly to really think about? When you have a jacket on your shoulders, right, worn properly, by the way, with your arms through the sleeves, not European style, where some lady droops them over her freaking thing, and then she like parts the curtain with her hand, and it's you're not sure what's coming up at you. It's freaky. It's freaky to see. Okay, put your arms through your sleeves. All right, you're wearing a blanket with holes in it right now. What do you think they're for? Okay, do not with me on this. Ejoie, or whatever your European middle name is. So I wear the jacket, like when you have it on properly with your arms through the frickin' sleeves, right? This is how it's made. This is how it's knitted, sewed, crocheted, crescendoed. Okay, that's a jacket that just gets louder and louder as it gets closer to you. Like when your sassy gay friend has got like an outfit on and it's loud, right? Well, if he's walking down the corner and slowly, revealing the jacket to you, you're like, holy what? That's a crescendo that was crocheted. Okay. A lot of these thoughts, by the way, they're not rehearsed. So if you're listening to this for the first, this is it. I will get back to where the point is. Don't just let me cook. I'm more of a baker, really. I make sweets, all right? I make it sweet time. It's not going to fulfill you, and it's definitely not good for you. But let me bake. This is my point. Imagine a jacket when you put it on the other way, because we've all done that. We've all been nestled in a cold corner of a library just reading Nancy Drew, right? Well, when you put your frickin' the jacket on that way, imagine how the jacket feels. This is such a stupid thought. I can't believe I'm doing it on the podcast. But, what's comfortable for the jacket is for it to be worn naturally, okay? But I'm too much of an empath that I'm thinking about the frickin' jacket and how it feels, about its arms completely being bent backwards because you're riding your arms through the sleeves the other way. So the jacket's like fucking fuck, dude, shoo, fuck, the jacket feels like it's being detained, because that's not how it's and it itself feels like it is restrained. It becomes a straight jacket. Okay? That is how you make a jacket straight. And I think if that's, forget about praying the gay away. Let's jacket the gay away. Let's jack every one of these gays off. Man. Dude, guys, I don't want to say any of this. I don't like where my stupid mind goes to. But what a silly thing, all right? Like, if you turn your pants around, where your pockets are where your nogs are, right? Where your pockets are where your little nads, your little nad bagads right there, all right? For your little, all right? You turn your butt around for where your pelvis goes, and you start walking straight, right? You start walking forward. Your pants are going to feel like they're backing up. This bit is not going to work. I don't know why I keep trying to sell it to you guys. It's not going to be good. I don't know why I am sold on this idea of let's humanize and personify clothes, because people will think that's so silly and stupid like I do. Fuck! Ow! That's my impression of when you accidentally put your pants on backwards and start walking forwards. No, wait. Could they do that? Because no, your knees are not, there's not a part for the knees. I don't know. Whatever. Let this bit die. Speaking of travel, let's go to a That's My Gripe. That's my gripe.
That's my gripe.
What the f***?
That's my gripe.
That's my gripe. I know. Last episode. This is my Trump briefly for some reason. I know for some reason last episode I did something about an airport. And now here's gonna be something else a little bit related to an airport. Okay? I don't get it. I don't understand why he did it. I don't know why he's talking about it all the time. But here he is talking about it. It's perfect. It's beautiful. Last episode, it was amazing. Wouldn't have changed a thing. Not one thing he wouldn't have changed. Except for the fact that he talked for too long. I didn't like that. Not at all. Just bear with me here, guys. I was on a flight with my wife because we were coming home, and I guess she lives with me. So, and she had a to-go, like, she had gotten... No, actually, no, this wasn't even on the way home. This was on the way out, okay? This was on the way out, all right? She took a to-go container with us, and it had, like, little mini burgers in it, and they were for me. So I'm grateful that she wants to feed this growing boy. But I realized that there's no way to get around looking poor. When you bring your own smelly food onto an airplane, okay? Onto that flatulent cabin. Something that it's already pretty stinky. There's sweaty Midwesterners. There's kids puking around, and then you got me and my wife's Tupperware of steamed soy dumplings and hot sliders with eel sauce. We became that couple where people were looking at us and they were like, you couldn't just fork out the $18 for a pastrami on rye at the gate. You had to go deep into your fridge because you're trying to get rid of things that are going to expire. It already smells expired. It's expiring on its way. Somehow, I don't know, I can't prove this, but I think when you ascend into the atmosphere is that word? That wasn't a stutter. I said atmosphere, but my lips stuck together because they're dry. Because this moment right now is down here. And I guess that this is where I'm talking to you at for this part. But I think when the plane goes into the atmosphere, you are time traveling. There is no way to explain getting from Florida to California in 4 hours. That is absurd. And so you're already bringing stuff on the plane that you're just eating so it doesn't expire in your fridge. And once you hit 10,000 feet, ding. Yeah, that's not letting you know it's okay to get up. That's letting you know. That's your own little microwave sound. Ding. That's done. You hit your ding. That's all done. That's letting you know the official time. Wouldn't it be great if food told you, like, you know how the sticker, it has the date for when it expires? Goodbye, use by, and then it gives you an exact date, which is some crazy thing. Like, that's insane. Who's the person that comes up with it? Like, who's the person that's like, do they have, like, crash testing, do they have crash taste testing people? who they're like, all right, we're going to workshop salsa with you. All right. Patient number 8. We're going to workshop this salsa with you, and you got to eat it every single day. Day 371, good. 372, good. 375, patient 8. And then it came right back out. Note the time. Some of us are stingy and frugal, and apparently are just too poor to continue to buy things from the airport, like my wife and I. I think the thing is we travel all the time. It's every week that we're traveling. And that's not a good thing. So every week we're traveling and we just look like these people who, that's why everybody buys food at the airport, because it's filled with people who are traveling every week, or people who mostly travel like a few times a year. And so you're going to buy something at the airport. You're not bringing stuff from home unless you're truly cheap, like to your core, where like childhood shit happened. That is the beauty of, it's the luxury of not traveling that much. You can drop $30 on a drink and fries and salmonella that you get from a terminal, which later turns into the illness type. Because you're splurging. You're going to visit your grandkids in Sarasota. Good for you. Good for you. Some of us do not have the budget for $9 to stand in line at Chick-fil-A. Yeah, they just charge you to stand in line now. You don't even get to look at the menu. It's a pay-to-play situation. Okay? So, I'm not a huge fan of what I'm talking about right now, but I am a huge fan of saving money, but I'm not a huge fan of smelling up the airplane, but I am a huge fan of, like, closing the box on not wasting food. But I'm not a huge fan of, people passing us by looking like we're like we just found it, like we got it on the floor, and you just kind of smell it, right? You smell it, and then my wife whips out like some kind of lavender sanitizer, and it's not really helping. It kind of mixes with the past scent of cuisine that once was. We're not saving it good. And what am I not gonna, I think that a slider is the only thing I feel comfortable eating meat-wise. It's adorable. It's nice, and it's like a decorative burger, right? It's how do we combine a macaron and meat, and we feed it to a little person like me? That is what I enjoy eating. Not a full-size burger where I'm all the time, and people are like, are you giving yourself the Heimlich? What are you doing? Which I think that's really what burping is. I think you're just giving yourself the Heimlich. When you burp from meat, that's you can hear faint sounds of the moo still. Okay? I'm not proud of that last thing that I just said there. I do support animals, but I also need protein. I was vegan for 2 years, so I feel like I contributed, okay? Just, all right. Then my soy levels got too high, and my face was red all the time. People were like, what were you drinking again? And I'm like, no, I had fake bacon. So, yeah. I had a tofu salmon, and so now my skin is breaking out, and I faint. So I'm sorry, cows. I am someone who loves all things. Wouldn't it be the worst? I think the worst way to die is choking on a piece of meat in a public place. In a public place. That's the worst way to die. I used to think it was shark, and it's not. Unless a shark dies by choking on you, then kind of hilarious, but also 2-for-1 situation. And you gotta get to like confront each other in purgatory. Be like, hey, dude, what the fuck was that, man? All right, if you're gonna eat me, like, go through with it. You know what I mean? Don't get all greedy, bitch out when you get to my femur, and then you get all stuck. Yeah. That'd be the biggest flex of all time. Me just showing up in purgatory, being like, yeah, what's up? I killed a shark. Okay, yeah, he killed me. But also, who saw this happening? Who saw this coming? I am a warrior. And then I just kind of hobble off. And for that matter, do you assume the form that you die in when you get to heaven? Because if that's the case, I totally understand, like, cutting it early if you're in your prime. Okay. All right. I'm not proud of that last thing either. But that's what this podcast is, baby. Baby boys and girls. All right? And baby non-binds. All right? That's what it's about. I'm talking about things that potentially piss you off. And you're like, why am I, like, I do not support this. And that's it. I just want you to get the hell out of here. All right? This is just from me and my shark story. Here's the worst way that you can die. I'm telling you, I'm going to come back to it. I'm going to get back to the slider thing too. Realistically, we're done with the plane story. All right. So if you want to know, and you're like, all right, I don't know what he's talking about anymore, because we've now Russian dolled our way to 5 different topics from now, and we're on Kevin Faux Bacon. Here we are. 7 degrees ago, we talked about the plane thing, and that happened. It was sliders. It was smelly. And then people looked at us like we were poor. Okay, that's the end of that part, all right? Moving on from there, I talked about how the worst way to die would be choking, all right? And then I fast-forwarded to a part that's not really necessary, right? It's actually, I'm not going to even say that it's a fast-forward, because that would imply that we're going to continue down that direction later, and we're not. It was just a side tangent, right? It was like a parallel universe that we didn't need to visit, right? The shark example was just silly and stupid. Obviously, a shark, what is a shark going to go up to heaven, and then as a shark that died by choking is just going to continue to choke, because I imagine heaven is also not water-filled, right? Unless God is Poseidon, which I don't think it is. I think God is God. Unless Poseidon is like God's jealous brother and took God, and there's like, no, there will be water everywhere. And then the shark gets back up there and is able to breathe in water, but potentially still chokes because he choked on my leg. And so he dies again in heaven, but I also die because I can't breathe in heaven's water. So then we end up going to a whole different place. Then do you go to hell? Okay, so I guess I did end up going farther with that than I wanted to. But it's just a parallel universe, okay? It's just a parallel point that I was not really even making. My point is, the worst way to die is someone trying to give you the Heimlich maneuver and it doesn't succeed. That is the worst, okay? Because at best, you hock a piece of meat. You chuck a prime rib across a restaurant and hit some couple on their first date right in their hormones. At best, that's what happens, and you're embarrassed the rest of the night. At best, you give the girl an ick. That's it, and that's all you'll ever give her. She'll never get a gizm from you. She'll get an ick forever, because she'll be like, oh yeah, remember that time that you chucked meatloaf at my face? Remember that? Yeah, kind of hard to get out of my head while we're getting intimate here, Dave. So I would say that that's at best. That's the worst of the best. That's the best of the worst, okay? The worst of the worst is you died by choking. And someone Heimlicked you, and you still died. Do you understand what that... I mean, your last breaths are with someone just dry humping you? It's a rape death. It's a date rape. It's a date rape. I'm sorry, that's not... Okay. Oh my god. Ah! Ah! Guys, come on. Let's go. Come back. All right. Come on. What you thought things were gonna go well with a guy wearing a liquid death hat? You thought it was gonna be good times? Come on. Come on. Come on, man. My wife and I, we do that all the time. Whenever we drink water, silly, we drink like real aggressive, like little kids. We go. We have a good time, but we don't fight. Actually, we do, but it's not good. They're never good. It's not good because it's the same result all the time. I win every single one of our fights. Who's counting? And we don't really fight about normal things, so I don't want you to think like, oh no, trouble in mom and dad's house. No, stop that. It's marriage fights. We fight about like silly, ridiculous shit. Like, oh, Mel, why do you need all these cups around you? And why did you pour a circle of salt around your meditation? Stuff like that. Normal marriage things. But because of my wife's childhood, which was good but troubled, okay? It was more hood than child. She doesn't really like confrontation. She is an avoidant type. I am a problem solver, okay? And she is a look over there. So we're different in that way. Because I mean, I do look over there and then I go figure out whatever that fake problem was and then I come back. Okay. But she doesn't go with conflict so well. And it's hard because for me, I don't want her to just, like, I want to have a conversation that leads to intensity, that builds passion and tension, and then ends in intercourse, right? That's the best way to fight, right? But at the end of the day, when she just agrees, she's too agreeable. She's too like, yeah, I mean, yeah, okay, like that. She goes, yeah, okay. And that doesn't work for me. I don't want to win a fight because she simply doesn't want to. I want to win a fight because I earned it. And so then what happens is in the middle of it, I'll be like, no, you can't do that. You need to advocate. You need to stand up for yourself. And she'll be like, well, I don't know what to, like, I don't know. And I'll be like, no, this is what you need to tell me. Here's what needs to happen. You need to tell me that I'm being an idiot and I need to get my shit together and get my head on straight, take a second, go for a walk, all right? And then simply just come back with a little more clear-headed, all right? Because this is nonsense. You can't just irrationally spiral like this. It's ridiculous. All right. It stems from your dad. And all of a sudden, I'm fighting myself. I'm literally saying to myself what someone would. I'm like, okay. So then I advocate for her, and then she'll be like, okay, yeah, you're right. All right, so don't do that. And I'll be like, okay, nicely done. Now we're making progress. I want to win the fight because she discovered that she's wrong. Like, I want her to push through her PTSD to see that she's being an idiot. That's all. Is that too much to Oh, so stupid. Anyway, on that silly note, my wife and I, we were traveling recently, and I saw a sign that said Motel 6. And then underneath that was a little billboard area that had Scrabble letters. And I'm actually pretty sure that the Motel 6 was also in those letters. And I don't even know that it was a 6. I think it was just an upside down G. And that's Motel 6 for you. So that's okay. But I didn't appreciate what was on the billboard. It said, pets stay free. And I was offended because I don't know what position Motel 6 believes that it is in, where it can stipulate whether or not a pet should not be able to stay free at a place that is seconds away from basically being an outside anyway. You know, Motel 6 is a slow demolition done by the customers. It's a rage room, really. So I don't know why they think that they can just get off saying, you know what? We thought about it, and your dog can stay here if it is hypoallergenic. All right? So poodles only. Poodles only here at the Motel 6, because if there's anybody who I know stays at a Motel 6, they for sure have a poodle because they're so fancy. Ooh, what are you going to tell me next, Motel 6? That you have running water? The people who stay there run faster away than your water does, was a joke I'm just now saying right now. I don't know who the hell you think you are, Motel G, but I will for sure be bringing my dog to your establishment, and we will shit in the lobby, both of us, okay? Until you get a room that doesn't have fleas that didn't come from some dude's pubes, then I will. You don't deserve my dog at your Motel 6, okay? You don't. I don't want people to see me and my dog at your motel and be like, wow, what a friendly place. Nope. And maybe you've updated, and I don't know where this animosity is coming from, Motel 6. You're probably catching a stray right now, okay? Not the dog kind, not the types that you probably have in your back hallway. No, I'm talking about a stray bullet that you're catching from me, from all the years of PTSD that I had to frickin' fly and stay there while I was doing these college gigs, who were paying me in baby back ribs that I had to then take home on a flight because I was poor. And probably still am. But I do have Liquid Death that sometimes sends me hats. I'm sorry, Motel 6. You don't actually deserve any of this. I don't know why I'm saying this like this. You're a good kid. You don't need me, and you don't need any gimmicks either with dogs. You don't need to say that. All right? Just why don't you change it and say only dogs stay? And that's it. Change it into a dog motel, Motel 6, Motel G. Okay? It's basically what it is. I've gotten kennel cough from one of your bathrooms, okay? I'm not trying to pick at you. You know what you are. And I love that about you, all right? I think 6 is a little high. So we'll go with, I'm glad, and calling yourself a G is also bold. But let's just say this. Yes, a dog is going to be able to stay there free, okay? I will need someone, a living thing in the room, because I'm pretty sure that the lamp that is flickering the whole night and the spirits that surround that will keep me up. So, I will be bringing another emotional support being to stay with me, and I will not be paying you for it. No. In fact, I will bill you for the therapy that I will have to do afterwards, okay? So that's where we are right now with what this, okay? I hope you've understood so much about what you've done wrong to me, to piss me off while I was driving on a freeway. This was just a silly bit, guys. I mean, yes, it happened. And yes, I mean it. And they should be shut down by OSHA or PETA. But also, I'm just being silly right now. And I am so excited right now to get to one of our favorite segments here on the show. It's a bad vice.
Bad vice. Bad vice. Bad vice.
All right, guys. We have an excellent submission here, and I'm excited to try and help. Someone asked me, this gentleman says, I'm a musician. I want to write lyrics, but nothing comes to me. What do you use for inspiration in your jokes? This is a great question, my guy, and I'm going to be able to help you out, okay? I know writing lyrics is difficult, and if you ask Rodgers and Hammerstein, so is music. But like in the interest of running with musicals, let's take this as an example, okay? A lot of people said that Stephen Sondheim, one of the great musical composers of our generation. I think I'm probably underselling him by saying generation, all right? People were like, you know what? You should just do music. And then he was like, take the bird, all right? All right? Flap my crevice right there, okay? Flap my crevice, take my bird, all right? Hey, fingers are like the middle child. Fingers are like children. Don't forget about the middle one, is what I was trying to say there. And he went and wrote lyrics. And you know how he wrote them? And you know on which musical? It was Sweeney freaking Todd, dude. Yeah. If it wasn't for Stephen Sondheim transitioning over from music to both music and lyrics, we wouldn't have gotten Johnny Depp in makeup, which apparently is a formula for success. If you want a movie to succeed, you put him in makeup, and and that's it, right? We're pretty sure he's a good actor, but we're also like, damn, the makeup department. So if you are struggling to come up with lyrics, my friend, what you do is you start with your deepest, darkest traumas. And then you put those away. You address them, but you don't talk about them, okay? That's not what kind of music are you trying to write here? Are you trying to write music that's meaningful, like an asshole? Because nobody cares about that, all right? Carly Rae Jepsen has a song called Call Me Maybe, and it's one of my favorites. I can't get it out of my frickin' head. So you need to find a way to make sounds with your mouth, with an instrument of some kind, by hitting Tupperware on the side of a plane, okay? Different kinds of flatulence. Why do people respond to flatulence? That's my big question to you, my guy. This is the question. Okay, Stephen Sondheim had to ask himself, if I want to cut people on stage who are pretending, who are there to get a haircut, but they're just dead bodies now, and I'm going to sing about it in a funny, silly, kind of dark way, Where do I start? I guarantee you he studied farts. Why do people laugh at them? Why are people repulsed by them? Why do people sometimes not hear them, but they feel them? It's because it all starts with farts, my dude. People are always like, yeah, open your mind, open your heart. What about open your butt? I can't even get through this. This is stupid. What about open your butthole, man? And see what comes out, all right? Instead of word dumping, why don't you dump? I don't know. Here's my genius, okay? I can listen to things being said, and I hear them in a musical way. All right? That's it. I can't not hear things in a silly, funny, little fluty kind of way. All right? So a little fluty-tooty way. Every single time someone talks, I imagine it's Willy Wonka with a little and he calls along the little orangey oompas. Okay? So if you want to write lyrics, you need to listen to sounds. Go to the zoo. Study the way the animals fart as well. Farts are really funny, and that's exactly where I would start. Okay? See what comes out from anyone's backsides. And you will eventually find your way into some kind of lyric, like Call Me Maybe. Let's take that song for an example. Hey, I just met you. This is crazy. So here's my number. Call me maybe, right? Okay. All right, let's take that. 4 bars. It's generous of me to call them bars, but let's just say they are, all right? She's just kind of, it's not really a meet cute even. We don't even get the guy's perspective. She just says, like a predator, hey, I just met you, and this is crazy. Here's my number. Call me maybe. So she's passive-aggressive at the end. But I love it. It makes you think. It makes you dance and bop. It makes you hate her, but want her as well, right? She's just telling a story right there. She got the first 3 lines that are fine. They're okay. They're not like, whoa, holy, like, oh my goodness, the way that they came together and, oh my God, the syllables and how they were broken down. It was just, oh, it was a cadence. No. The thing that sells it is the call me maybe. Let's get Swift involved on this, okay? As an example, all right? I stay out too late. Got nothing in my brain. At least that's what people say. That's what people say. I go on too many dates. But I can't make them stay. At least that's what people say. That's what people say. So I keep grooving. Don't stop, won't stop, moving. It's got, I like this, got this music stuck in my mind. And suddenly, it's gonna be all right. Okay? And then she proceeds to say basically a bunch of things as like nouns and then nouns as those verbs. Players are going to play. Smokers are going to smoke. Hoes are going to hoe. You know, whatever the lyrics are. I really kind of stopped listening after that. Because she told me to shake it off, and I was like, you're right, Taylor. I'm going to shake off this silly musical slumber that I'm in, and I'm going to go back to listening to just musicals with Sweeney Todd. But think about that. Think about that. She was like, all right, I'm going to take criticism. Take an idea. Take an idea and expand on how all of that idea makes you feel. I would suppose it's the same as writing a joke. Not that I know. I'm not funny or even musical, really. My genius is that I can't take a compliment that I give myself. So there we go. I would say that that is exactly how I would approach it, my guy. Start to look at all the different angles that you can and how it makes you feel. Why is it frustrating? Start with questions. Why is it frustrating? What do I feel from it? Right? What's the feeling I get? What is it frustration? How is it bad? How is it good? What's the common conception? What's the consensus on that thought? Right? And then, does it fart? And that's it, man. I can't spell it out any clearer for you. Anyway, guys, this has been just a dandy old time. That's been our episode. I had so much freaking fun with you this week. I'm sorry about my exposed arms. Make sure you subscribe and leave a comment on the video. All right. Whatever. If there's a part you agreed with, a part that you didn't, you like the name part, you disagree with it, give me your thoughts. We do this every week. And that's it. We'll see you next time. Okay.